Next, we're going to move on to Drunken. What's going on,
Yeah.
Drunken? Welcome to the Theist Experience. Do you want to introduce yourself, pal?
Yep, I'm Drunken. I'm an atheist.
Okay. Have you ever been a Christian?
Was when I was a younger kid, yeah.
Okay. Did you go to church a lot? Did you understand the fullness of the
Every now and
faith?
again. Probably not. I was a child.
Okay. When did you convert away from Christianity?
Probably around grade 6, grade 7.
What age is that?
It's like 13. 13,
Okay.
12.
Was that the first time you'd really thought about God?
No, probably not. I always was confused by the idea of how God could have made everything.
Okay, that's the first. Was it the first time that you seriously started looking into it, looking for argumentation and stuff like that, and you found Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, the
No,
Four
I just
Horsemen
rejected
stuff?
him. No, I just rejected him outright.
Okay, why did you reject them?
Because there's no reasonable justification for him.
Well, what reasonable justification would you have for a world without God?
For without God, I don't need one.
Okay, so why do you need a reasonable explanation for the world with God?
Because if there's something that is like creating a physical reality that I can like observe and experience, there should probably be some sort of physical evidence of his like being or his like at all existence.
Why?
Especially with the amount of truth claims that you guys make about him and his actions.
Yeah, I think that we do get actual like miracles. We
Yeah, but you have
prayed
no
for
way of
someone.
proving that Jesus Christ was like the actual Son of God, do you?
Well, actually, there's all sorts of different evidence that we have to justify that position. But like, really,
Like
what
how?
I like to do first is to go into your worldview, how you justify things, and then we'll break out all of the evidence.
Yeah, I
We've got
presuppose
the
that things like
logical
logic
arguments.
exist.
You presuppose things like logic.
Yeah,
Is that based
I
on
just assume.
arbitrary,
I just well,
arbitrary
I mean,
justification?
it's as arbitrary as
Okay.
any other, like epistemic
Well, it's not
like
as any
framework is.
other. It's not. It's not. It's not the
It
same.
is.
We've got
So
justified
can
true
like
beliefs.
something that's on
It's
fire
not,
be
and
not
I'll
on
tell
fire?
you why. It's not, because we've got justified true beliefs that are upheld within a coherent web of justified beliefs.
Okay.
What you're saying is that you've got arbitrary foundational positions which are dogmatic.
How do you know those
Okay,
web of truths to be true? How do you determine those to be true?
because the web there's the self-revelatory revelation of the
Yeah.
Christian God. It's
How do you know those
self-attesting
Yeah. How do you know those to be
revelation
true? How do you how do you determine
because of the
what is in your brain?
self-attesting nature of the revelation. But we'll get into that
Yeah. So
in a minute,
it's
right?
epistemological circularity. It's just like mine.
It's not epistemological circularity. I'm
No, it is.
personally a found-herentist, and other people have different positions. But for
Hmm.
me, it's not circular.
Yeah, but
Circular would
fundamentally,
be
it
like
comes
a
down to the fact that
coherent position.
you read the revelations in the Bible, right? How do you read those?
Yeah, that's not the point. Like, we're looking at the world from a worldview perspective. Like, you've got the
Hmm.
atheist worldview,
Yeah.
right? Where you don't know anything, you don't know your brain exists, you think you popped into existence
Yep.
out of nothing from a rock,
Sure.
versus the Christian worldview, where we've got a being that can account for all of the necessary preconditions of the world in the way that it is, and
Hmm.
gives us the faculties to engage in the world that we engage with. Right? This is a completely different level of argumentation. Our argument is way more like in tune with the actual world. It's got more explanatory power, justificatory
Yeah,
force,
and the fact
and
that it makes sense to you
consistency.
is totally fine. But I don't see any of the evidence that you're suggesting.
Okay, so like basically that's because you're going to have an epistemology that can't account for truth. Okay, because you're arbitrary in your justification,
Can you
and
point
you
to me
just
where truth
believe,
exists in the universe?
yeah, that truth exists in the fact that in the state of being.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have
What is the state of being?
it's something that exists.
Okay. Do you notice how you're talking in a circle again?
No, that's like what? So truth exists in
Yeah.
things that are in a state of being in some way, right? So that's like it's true that the physical world exists in some way.
Hmm.
And then you're saying that because I'm saying that that's true, somehow I'm being circular.
Yeah.
That's just dumb. Like,
Okay.
obviously, me saying that the physical external world exists and that's true, we've got evidence to justify it, right? There's nothing circular about that.
Sure.
We've got like a foundational position that acts the world in the way that it is. Okay.
Yeah. What is that foundation built upon? Like, what is that
So
foundation?
yeah, so basically, God's revealed the world. He's given us the
Yeah.
faculties to perceive
How does God
revelation.
reveal that to you? How do you perceive that?
Like the world that's being revealed to you is the world that exists.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
How do
the
you know that to
reason,
be God's revelation? How do you know God did that?
okay, because of his, okay, so it says in Romans, the wrath of God is being revealed from the heavens against all the ungodliness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness, since what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since
Yeah.
the creation of the world, his invisible qualities, his eternal power, and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. So through the world, you can see the properties of God, the intelligent design, the
So God is
prime
real because
mover,
God gave you the
the
ability to believe in God.
necessary, non-contingent, non-dependent thing that accounts for all contingencies and is able to uphold and secure the law of identity through time, and also provide the diversity necessary in order to account for relationality, intelligibility, and observing relationships between two parties from a third party perspective.
Mm-hmm.
All necessary attributes that we see in the world that have to be accounted for in a non-dependent, non-contingent way by the thing that is non-dependent and non-contingent. Okay? So how do you know anything?
I
You don't.
presuppose that my brain can make like causal connections and like can rationally observe the reality that it's like seeing that like the images
Yeah.
that my
Why
brain
don't
are
you just
like,
presuppose that God exists?
because I have no reason to.
Well, I've just given you loads of good reasons why you should
No, you've
believe in
given me
God.
words out of a book. Why should I believe those words in a book?
They weren't words out of a book, actually. Nobody's written
You
that
just
down.
you just told me that was Romans like section whatever.
Yeah, Romans was, but like the rest
Yeah.
of it, where it's like
But also the
about
natural revelations or the natural and special revelations. Like, why should I believe those? How can you even trust that what
the
they're reading on
natural
that book
revelation.
is
So
in
you can
fact
see
like
the intelligent design in the world. You can see the order of things that has to be upheld through an authority. In order for something to be true, there has to be an authority that makes it true. Right? You know you exist, therefore there's an authority that makes it true. You're not the authority that makes things true. The physical world isn't the
I
authority
reject that
that makes
definition of
things
God that everything has to be like necessarily just because truth exists out in the world
true.
that like
Okay, if I said,
it's a binary
okay,
function,
you
right? Like
can
something that is
reject the
on cannot be
definition of
off, right?
God, but obviously we'll find out whether you're willing to be charitable now in the conversation. So would you accept this definition of God? God is the thing that's ultimate that makes things true.
Yeah, no,
Okay, why not?
because I have no why should I accept that?
Okay, so the reason that you won't accept it is because you know that means you've got a God, and you don't want to accept
No,
that you have a God.
you haven't proven that he
Even
exists.
though
You're trying to sneak in the definition of truth
that
into this
definition,
idea of God.
that definition, right, applies to all gods ever throughout history, and will apply to your God too. And it will out you as probably some kind of pantheist, and you know it. So if we
Yeah,
were
I
to
do.
use
Yeah,
that
that's
definition
why I
of
reject
God,
the definition. Yeah, you're
okay,
acting
so
like that's an
you
own, but
would
it's a
be a pantheist. So you'd be a pantheist using that definition, is what you're saying.
sure.
So you're actually a pantheist, and you just won't
I
admit
don't
it to
understand what
yourself.
you're saying.
You're a pantheist, and you just won't admit it.
Good one.
That's true. You just admitted it,
I'm sure
basically,
if
by
yeah, I
accident.
mean, yeah, if God revealed it to you to be true, then yeah, sure it is.
Yeah, you're a pantheist because you believe that I guess, the physical is the ultimacy. But that's a problem, and we've got a debunker for that position.
Like what?
Okay, so the reason it can't be the ultimacy is because if everything is the ultimacy and the world is made up of contradicting parts, then the thing that's ultimate that makes things true is contradictory at the core. So you wouldn't be able to know anything. I think he left, but that was a big one.
Yeah, it's
Big
just
win, easy win for the theist. Let's go. Who's next?
2 down. That was easy.
I mean, what do you want to define God as? If God isn't going to be defined as a thing that's ultimate that makes things true in a worldview, then what do you think it should be defined as? Because your definition is going to
God is a
be
supernatural
terrible.
deity with no evidence.
So God, so the definition of God is a supernatural deity
Yeah,
with
something that
no
is like is a deity
evidence.
that people believe in.
Well, then that doesn't describe the Christian God.
Yeah,
That that
sorry.
that
Well,
that
it does
definition
actually.
of God, no, because we've got evidence.
Yeah, what evidence?
with all sorts of different evidence. The intelligent design argument. We've got the logical arguments that justify the non-contingent, non-dependent thing that transcends the physical world and gives
This is what I meant
rise
by
to,
this is why I left
to
yesterday,
gives
because as soon as
rise
you
to
said
the
you have the
rule set
defeater of
by
the
which the
pantheist
physical
idea,
world is governed. Why are you interrupting me?
because you're just going to continue to try to justify circularity.
Do you think that I'm not being circular? Do you think that I should have to sit here and let you interrupt me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
If you interrupt me and you're rude, then you won't be able to converse in this room. Okay? This is about being polite.